in Egypt. But you know what? So there was a great cry in Egypt, but there was not a cry in God's camp. There was not a cry in God's camp because the blood was applied. Because the blood was there, the crying and the weeping and the wailing was not there because the blood was applied. If the blood is applied, we will not be destroyed. Hebrews 9:12 says, neither by the blood of goats or calves, but by His own blood He entered in once into the holy place, having obtained eternal redemption for us. Jesus' blood is the only thing that will keep us from destruction. He is trying so hard to destroy our health and destroy our physical being. He will try his best. He will try to take the family. He will try to separate and destroy. I don't know if you remember, a long time ago I preached a sermon. And it was about when, they were fighting, it was somebody. Moses. Well, they were out fighting, and he, as long as he held up his arms that they would win the fight, remember? And it said when he got weak and his arms started to come down, that they would start to lose. And it said that some people came, and they held up his arms, helped him raise the banner, helped him fight the war. He didn't have to do it on his own. They came together. And I said this one thing, the Lord brought it to my remembrance that time is we remember the old saying of here's the church, here's the steeple, open the door, and here's the people. Remember that? That's what it takes, folks. It takes the people combined together. It takes the church together and the blood applied to each and every one to win the war that Satan's got against us. He is waging the war. He is trying his best to separate us and destroy us. But together we can and go on and win what the Lord has already promised us. The third and final thing that the blood can do, the enemy will be destroyed. The enemy, we can't lose focus. Sister Kathleen, we can't lose focus on what the final thing, what the final outcome is. The final outcome is the enemy will be destroyed. He tries so hard today to make you think that there's no way. He made us, our family may be separating. Our family may through the worldly sickness and the things of this world may be falling apart. There could be grave things happening, and we know of things that's happening everywhere. And it seems like total destruction that Satan's taken over. But just remember, keep in mind, the enemy will be destroyed. In the scripture we read, it said, when I see the blood, I will pass over you. The plague shall not destroy you, and I will smite the land of Egypt. Who was the enemy at that time? The land of Egypt, Pharaoh and his people. Pharaoh that had oppressed God's children, and today Satan is trying to oppress God's children still today. Just remember one thing, the children of Israel walked down there. They were the people of Egypt were singing and dancing, said the God's people's finally leaving. And then they come to the point where they were so glad to get rid of God's people. I think I've had people happy to see me leave before too, saying that old man, he never cusses, he's always smiling when everything's happened. I'm glad to see him go. And quite honestly, there's times that I've been places that I've been glad to see me go too. But here they was glad to see the people. And matter of fact, old Pharaoh said, y'all just get on out of here. I don't want to see you no more. You've done destroyed the firstborn. You've done destroyed my land. You've done showed that your God is more powerful than my God. Go and leave. Of course, God changed his mind again, but that was just to show him another point. Harsh judgment upon Egypt. You might think, well, that's awful harsh to kill the firstborn. That's awful harsh punishment, awful harsh. God's people will not remain in bondage. God's people will not remain oppressed. God's people will not remain under the control of Satan. God's people will not be in bondage forever. The enemy will be destroyed. How often do we look at the news, hear the radio, the news reports, and all the things that happen every day? Sadness upon every hand, bloodshed in the streets. There's a certain part of Cincinnati that, you just don't want to go through anymore. Places in Lexington, everywhere around. Shootings, murders, everything that's going on today. It could get us so down and so depressed. But just remember one thing, is that the enemy will be destroyed. The enemy will be destroyed. We think we're getting destroyed. We think we're getting down. The enemy will be destroyed. Revelations 21, 1 and 2 says, "And I saw a new heaven and a new earth. For the first heaven and the first earth were passed away." Sounds like the enemy was destroyed to me. If we can... Can you imagine John seeing this picture? Seeing the picture of the old heaven and the old earth, the old things being destroyed. The old sinful things of this world will be destroyed, and the Satan will be with it. It said, "In the old heaven, the first heaven and the first earth were passed away, and there was no more sea. And I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down from God out of heaven, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband." Let me tell you, there is hope. There is courage. I know it's hard today, but we've got to keep in remembrance that one of these days, through all the trouble, through all the struggles, through all the trials, and you think we're having it harder in this time than any other generation. Well, I've heard a lot of things about the Depression, things like that. When Brother Emmons gets up and preaches about he didn't even have electricity, that's pretty rough as far as I'm concerned. You might think we have it rough today, and I believe, we do. I believe we have it rough as far as the things that the devil's using to try to get us. And I'm a firm believer that he's trying his best to start to get those young people. And I know that Rhonda knows how bad the drug situation is in this land and how everything is going. And it's all directed to the youth. You can get these youth stuck on these drugs. Then you wonder why there's so many break-ins, why so many things. Well, it's all due because of drugs. Satan has used that. It can get such a hold on people that all they think of is just getting the next fix, getting the next high. They can't think about the consequences that it does to other people. They can't think of the consequences that it does to their family. They can't think of nothing other than, I need the next fix. That's all, and we know that's what Satan has planted. We heard for the longest time that people say, well, they're trying, the government's trying to oppress this certain race of people because of they've planted this and they've done this and they've done that. I can't imagine no government in a free world like we're living in trying to do such a thing. But I wouldn't put past Satan one bit to plant something, to tempt something into these youth that's here tonight. Every day, I'm sure there's something out there that he plants in front of them, something that he puts in front of them, trying to take their very lives from them, to get them from this earth, to get them from their church, to get them from their family. But one thing we need to remember is that the enemy will be destroyed. In closing tonight, is the blood applied? We went over the three things that the blood can do. Now is the blood applied to you? And so we get ready to get a song. Is the blood applied in your life today? Hebrews 9, 13 and 14 says, "For if the blood of bulls and of goats and of ashes of an heifer sprinkled the unclean sanctifieth to the purifying of the flesh, how much more shall the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself without spot to God, purge your conscience from dead works to serving the living God." How much